Just waiting for YouTube. Okay, guys, I'm just waiting for YouTube as usual on our recording. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think we're live. Yeah, okay, cool. Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 47. And I got this lippy face today, which is fine. Good. Guys, so today we're gonna talk about. I'll say the word that, or the sentence that Amanda shared with me, which was like being let go of. And it's a concept that before we jumped in as well, I had to understand a little bit. We're gonna come in and explain a little bit more about the being let go of. Yeah. But we're gonna also share with you guys like some new stuff that came up. Like I've been away for a while. I went to Austria for a bit. I think we've done a couple of episodes in Austria. Then I came back from Austria. Like on the same day, I flew to Brazil. I spent a week there, and then I'm back in the UK. And like there were loads of stuff that I get to hear pretty much like my own heart into it. And there are a few changes that we're doing to the Alchemy chat, but also like for the directions that I'm taking, few things as well. So there will be some little announcements in there as well. But the main theme is like, how can we let go of, things and even transform and allow life to take over, like that voice inside of you, to allow you that to come out. And I shared with you guys throughout the Alchemy chat, and Amanda shared as well how we use that as well, and how we tried, our best to be authentic as we can. There were moments where we cried, there were moments where we laughed, there were moments where we shared, to me, I always, heard that voice, even if I was resisting for a while. But like, since I moved from Brazil to the UK when I was like on my early 20s, then, moving from working in a career in a bank and everything else, coming to a country, learning the new language, moving, from one job to become a coach, and then working from a company, leaving that company, creating a company in Brazil, with my best friend about, I don't know, 4 years ago. Then this like dissolving that company as well, which was about a couple of years ago, and we're still, best friends. And it's just understanding and trusting that life is literally guiding you, like it guides a river, for example, like, oh, turn here, turn there. And then if you let that flow goes, we know that we're always in the right direction in there as well. Absolutely. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about today, how to be a let go, or being a let go of. And I'll hand over to Amanda, because it's beautiful what she shared with me.
So no, I just listen to you talk. It's beautiful, isn't it? And yeah, everything you said, we've so loving our Alchemy chat, haven't we? We've tried to be so authentic, and I think that's what we wanted to share today for both of us. We're very heart-centered, and we're very, try and listen to our heart and our soul and our higher self, and we're conscious that for all of us, we've all got patterns of conditioning, codependency, beliefs and ideas around our worthiness, and attachment. So we know that, and we know our journey is beautifully allowing those to be dissolved, and it's taking that responsibility in that, isn't it? So I know for both of us, we ask on a daily basis, anything within me that's maybe isn't unconditional love or freedom or joy or unity, or an expression of that, and kindness and compassion, that it gets shown up and then beautifully dissolved. So it's Junior and I taking responsibility as well in what's showing up in our lives. And so for the ego, if the ego is often, the conditioned ego is like a child, isn't it? That thinks it has a lot of responsibility. So, but when we talk about letting something go, we often misunderstandingly try and do that from our ego. So let's say our ego has a belief of unworthiness, and my worthiness is all around helping other people. So And then someone says, I can kind of see where that's not helping you or helping them. It's codependent. It might be disempowering that person. You're also disempowering yourself, not coming yourself. So then you say to the ego, you got to let go of that. And that ego goes, but that's my sense of worthiness. That's my approval. That's my connection to people. That, oh my word, and that's why we find let it go difficult. But when we can go deeper, and it's like you beautifully said, when we understand that we're not just a little ego on our own, struggling to survive in a world that's separated, when we understand, when we go deeper, that we are part of a greater picture, consciousness, universe, source. I'll happily call it divinity and God, not pushing that on anybody. We are not on our own. We're all part of this. It's a loving consciousness that always wants the best for us. And it's then that we realize I'm always being released, or I'm being let go of patterns, beliefs, contracts. We've talked about contracts before, ideas that actually aren't from my highest place, and maybe we're ready to take that next step, and it's okay. We've talked all the time about, you wouldn't chastise a child that doesn't know its ABC yet. Oh my God, you don't know how to write. You wouldn't dream of doing that. And we understand that as we spiritually grow, our consciousness grows, we go through stages, and we understand that when we're being released from something or being let go of, there will be a cracking open of any egoic patterns or identifications around what we're being let go of. So, and this comes back to the things we've always shared. When we're being let go of something, if there's an egoic attachment to that, it will appear to be initially painful. So if you have abandonment issues, rejection issues around loss, around worthiness, around power, around control, when we're being released from something, when we're being let go of something, those egoic patterns will get brought up to the surface. And that's when it's really important to allow ourselves the time, the care. And this is something I've really loved about Matt Kahn's work. It's that self-compassion of, this is hurting. So instead of chastising myself, especially when you're on a spiritual path, I'm a very intelligent person as well. This shouldn't hurt me. Emotion's so unintelligent. This is when we can hold those parts of ourselves and say, this does hurt. So, or any shame or embarrassment around showing emotion. This hurts. So I'm gonna go into that space, things we've talked about before, go into that space, calm my nervous system down, everything's okay. I can hold this space, and I can hold this emotion, and I can ask for guidance. I can hold this emotion. I can ask for this emotion to be taken care of. And you start to trust what feels right in when you're feeling it. You feel it, you hold it, you don't resist it. You're not asking for, God, life, please take this emotion away from me. Could give me anything to. No, you're not asking for life to come in to get rid of the emotion. You're saying, okay, this emotion's here. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to hold it. God, it hurts. Maybe I can love that part of me that's hurting. I feel really hurt at the minute. I'm really sad, or I'm angry, or I'm scared, or whatever the emotion is, or even blame myself. How could this person do this to me? Whatever it brings up, it's beautiful, because whatever's coming up is there to be healed and released. You're not doing anything wrong when you feel an uncomfortable, painful emotion. So it's in that we then start to realize, I'm being released from something. So it's a journey. You can't go straight to, oh, I'm so thankful that person, I don't know, whatever that person did that you thought hurt them. You can't go straight to that. You feel the emotion, you process it. There may be people that you can process with, that you feel safe and say, I'm kind of going through something. Can I just be in this space while I talk to you about something? And Jean, you did that for me yesterday, and I'm so appreciative of that. held a space for me to just release something that's been going on. And it was so powerful for me. And I'm so thankful for that. But what was beautiful in that space, there was no blaming, there was no projection, there was no, oh God, yeah, they're awful, aren't they? There was none of that. And we realized that in that space, life is giving us a gift. We can feel that emotion, and then we're able to go, what's the gift in this? And then we can say, there's a deeper truth to this. Maybe we're all being released, everyone involved in this, we're all being released from some pattern. And then you go, yeah, if I'm being honest with myself, this isn't actually a surprise. It was there all along. Whatever patterns were there, didn't want to look at it, whatever it is, whether it's control, I need to be in power, I need to be the helper, I need to get approval, I don't like to see people suffering, whatever it was that was not letting us look at the situation, we can then look at this with compassion and kindness and say, well, no one's to blame here. We were all just living out of conditioned patterns of fear, and we're being let go of those now. And it can be that for Junior and I, yeah, we're very blessed that we're able to do that together. But there may be people in our lives that aren't at that place yet being able to do that. So they might then blame us and say, because we realize that we're all being let go of something, and that those are the people might say, well, I didn't agree to this. I need you to still be in these codependent patterns or whatever the patterns are, and they then might blame us. And it's then that we can say, and I think it was Buddha that said this, I don't blame you. I don't blame you for blaming me. And I can see how this can be hurtful to those patterns that are still in that. And it's not saying we don't take responsibility. Yes, if we acknowledge that we've done something that was hurtful, we can look at that, but everything happens for beautiful reasons. So in that, we just take responsibility. We say, gosh, yeah, I had a conditioned belief around power. I am so sorry I hurt you. And we can sit there and say, I'm so sorry if I disempowered, hurt, projected onto anybody. I obviously didn't know I was doing it. I wouldn't do that now. I'm so thankful there's experiences that have helped me to learn and grow so I can be let go of from patterns that aren't serving me. And then we can forgive. We say, God, may we all be forgiven for forgetting the unconditional love, the freedom, the joy, the unity, the oneness, the liberation, the creativity, the passion, the safety, the security, the prosperity, the uniqueness that we all are. And anytime we hurt anybody else, it's when we've forgotten that. And if anytime we think someone's trying to hurt us, we realize they've forgotten that. And any part of us that is hurt has forgotten that. And then you get to that next stage where we say, oh my word, I'm so thankful this happened. It was bloody painful. It was very uncomfortable, but I'm so thankful. And I forgive and send blessings of healing to everybody involved.
I think it was my internet. Just a second. I think I lost you for a second there. It was a beautiful part where we ended up. Let me just double check here. Just a second. I'm checking on YouTube. How is it taking? Just hold on with us, guys. I'm just checking if it's rolling on YouTube well. I think it was, yeah, it carried on with you, and then I just changed the, yeah, I think we're back. We're back. Good. Good. It's just technical stuff happening there.
But you've got the techie knowledge. Yeah, and I think, and that's when you get to that point, don't you, where it is release, it is comfort, you've returned to love, there's no blame anymore. And if it comes up again, you know what to do with it, but you've returned to love and you love everybody involved. Even if that person can't at the minute love you back, or they're still in those patterns, you know, we're the ones that are able to say, I see that, because I've been there, I've been in those patterns, and I absolve you from any blame. I absolve you from any blame. But that doesn't mean, like we talked about before, we have to keep putting ourselves in toxic, abusive situations or relationships. No, and actually sometimes taking ourselves out of a situation or away from somebody is actually the most powerful thing we can do, because it gives them space and time to, because they're not constantly with us, that gives them the space and time to do what we've just done, for them to say, well, maybe I can just sit with this then. If I'm not being continually triggered by this person or reacting to this person, oh my God, this person's actually giving me a gift. We're not abandoning or rejecting anybody in that. It's a beautiful thing when we say, I think this person needs space as well for their healing.
And allow that, even if they don't think they actually need the space, because sometimes it can be very painful. Like one side of anything, a partnership, a relationship, or something, feels like this is not, it doesn't feel as good as it used to be, or it feels like there's a new thing coming up.
Yeah.
And it can be a surprise for the other person, because you're not expecting that to happen as well. And
Yeah.
accepting it's a difficult thing, because it's like, no, it has been always this way. We've been together on this journey. We get to continue with this, and so on. And it's understanding, and that's what the unconditional love is, which is like, I know what you're going through. I know it's painful. However, I get to follow my heart, and I know this is gonna solve, and I might not be able to see this now, and I might not be able to tell you how. You might not be able to see how this is gonna unfold for a greater good, but I know this is for the greater good in the future as well.
And I think I love the way you describe that, because what that enables us to do is not focus on maybe the part of them that's hating us, disliking us, trying to manipulate us to get back in that fearful pattern, whatever it was. And we can say, I see that. I see whether they're projecting or trying to manipulate, or they're withholding, or all the power games of manipulation that we know. We can say, yeah, I see that, and that's discernment, and that's showing me I think we need some space, because I'm not willing to interact with that part of you. But what I'm going to keep focusing on is the light within you, the soul, the free you, the unconditionally loving you, the creative you, the you that knows you're prosperous, abundant, safe. I'm going to keep seeing that you, even if that person can't, even that person's like screaming at you, or we take ourselves out of that and we say, it's only pain, isn't it? It's only pain in somebody that makes them, pain and shame makes people project and say, well, I'm hurting, so I'm going to punish you, or whatever it does. And we say, yeah, I can see that pain. I can see that's why you're doing that. And that's when we have discernment. That's when we listen to our higher truth in our heart and that guidance. Sometimes it will say, we're just taking you out of that energy, because you need to heal from that, and they need some space to be with that. Whether they do or not in this lifetime, we don't have any control over that. But the more we forgive, the more we see them as the truth of who they are, the more it frees them from the bonds of it as well. The ego might struggle with that, because the ego might still be, but they've hurt me, so why should I? And so you can't do it from the ego. Yeah, it's feeling how painful that is, the anger, the hurt, the betrayal, whatever is coming up, that's just there to be healed. And then when you've connected with your soul, your higher self, you're in that divinity, you're in source, you feel safe again, that's the place that you say, you know what, may we all be forgiven. I can see that they're hurting. It doesn't mean I have to put myself as a target or in that toxic energy. That's not love. That's that old wishy-washy, and I think I told you about the client years ago whose partner was very abusive, and whenever they tried to speak up afterwards, the abuser would cry and say, you're making me feel bad, I only punch you because I'm in pain, and you do things that trigger my pain. So if you didn't do things to trigger my abandonment issues, then I wouldn't lash out. So she was like, oh, well, that's love, isn't it? Love is staying and being punched and trying to be so perfect that I don't do anything I want to do. I'm just living this life that never triggers that person's abandonment issues. That's not love. That's not love. That's codependency. and thank God something triggered in her to sort of reach out and say something's not right here, because the love, she was such a compassionate soul, the love was there, but it was getting a little bit confused with codependency. I had to stop you from suffering, and shame. You know, she had been shamed a lot in her life, so he was the partner was blaming her for his pain and for his abuse, and she was going, well, yeah, it's my fault, isn't it? It's my fault he punched me because I didn't get the dinner on the table at time. Do you know what I mean? Or I was following my truth for once, and thank God she listened to that.
It's so interesting. Like one of the things I'm fascinated about the mind and the way that we worked, because it can make kind of a logical sense, which I know it doesn't, but it's just like we try to make sense of it because of a conditioning with where we keep that relationship, just to say, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Because we can use all these stuff that we teach here on the, even on the Alchemy chat, or things that we learned before, which is like taking personal responsibility. And then that person like, yeah, yeah, it's my responsibility that he's hitting me. It's my responsibility because I'm triggering GC, but that's not, you can see inside of yourself when it's, you are blaming someone or you're blaming yourself is a different thing, or taking personal responsibility of what we call creating here.
Yeah, that's
And
such
what,
a perfect thing
yeah,
to say, Junior. Yeah.
I think is important, you know, discernment or distinguish here, to see between taking personal responsibility or taking the blame in order to keep as something that our ego is scared to let go of,
Yeah.
which is, oh, I need this relationship deep down, or I need this relationship where they come to me for help, or they come to me to release. Do you see what I mean? I need that. It's a conditioning that we have there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we justify everything, you know what I mean, in our head on like, and using language that actually feels like, oh, I'm using, you know, I don't know, a enlightened language, I'm taking responsibility, I'm taking this and everything else, to actually blame yourself at the end of the day, or blame others in that way as well.
I love how you describe that, because that kind of comes down to like, maybe there's inner shame in there as well, and that feeling of, but I'm to blame, aren't I? And that's why the ego struggles with, when we talk about taking responsibility for yourself, that will kind of say, well, I'm to blame then. So it's my fault then that I'm in an abusive relationship. And you say, it's not fault. There was some patterns of beliefs that you took on that said about your own worthiness and who you are in the world. So every time that partner is verbally abusive or physically abusive, they're actually letting you go.
Yeah.
They're actually letting you go. They're actually absolving you of those patterns, for you to say, yeah, it's never okay. You know, so we're not sitting there saying, so if someone's abusive, it's just because there's shame, it's okay. No, if someone's abusive, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But when we allow ourselves to take that inner responsibility for, what was my part in creating this then? What was my part in creating this codependency? What is the inner victim in me? What's happening? Then that's where the real healing occurs, and that's where we evolve, and we can go to that next level. And blame and shame, we're being let go of blame and shame when we allow ourselves to really feel it and go into it. So it's that we're always being let go of things that aren't serving us. And then I think, so what was sort of sharing with Junior, for me, I've been saying for a long time, you know, I know that heart-centered, unconditionally harmonious relationships are humans' truth, where there's reciprocity, there's balance, there's honesty and openness. And I would say so much that isn't that I got let go of. It was painful, but then there's been another area that was very close to home, and that was painful. But on the other side of it, I'm so thankful, and the love and forgiveness and care that's come in is at a level I've never experienced before.
And it's interesting, like I want to just highlight from that, sometimes the most painful, let goes that we go through are the most healing ones as well, that we're resisting to
Yeah.
happen. And like I remember a big one for me was, and I shared this I think in one of the episodes as well, because it got healed and transformed now for a while. It was the one with my sister. It's like we always had a very close relationship for
Yeah.
years and years, since we were like a kid and everything. We're confident of each other. We, let she was the one who I came out, as gay and everything for the first time. She helped me to, talk to mom and everything else.
Yeah.
And there was a situation where we had a conflict, and we had to let go of that. And I had to listen to my heart to take that decision of, look, I understand you want to go this way. This is my position. I'm going to go this way. It will have an influence in your life, but I know that my decision, what I'm taking it from my heart now, and
Mm.
it's different. It's painful,
Yeah.
and it was painful. We didn't speak for, I don't know, 6 months, a year,
Yeah.
until but there was a moment where we could let that healing happen, and that distancing. And Amanda helped me, assist me so beautiful on that time, which was like actually understanding and how I could love my sister, even not being in contact with her during all that time. How I could see, her soul, and how I could understand, her blaming, and understanding, the suffering that she was going through,
Yeah.
based on my decision of, letting go of a specific thing. So I know that it will be painful, but now when we came back again, a year later or something, then things transformed. And then she could see things that I couldn't even see in
Yeah.
back then, that
Oh,
I was just my heart asking for something that it wouldn't make sense even to me or to her, but I had to follow that guidance in that sense. So it's,
and Julie, it was wonderful. It was beautiful to see your journey with that, because when we're being blamed, and I know you've been blamed a little bit as well, and it felt unfair. And but for you, I've always seen that in you. There's such a your core is unconditional love. So it was even your need for your sister, like she's my sister and she's my rock. I love her so much. Oh my God, I'm terrified to let her go, but I trust in our souls here, because there's a bigger thing here. So there's a lot involved in that. But when you came back and saw her heart and her soul, and you returned to that goodness and that love again, it was wow, we're so beautifully being let go of something that was not blocking, but just in that way, a little shadow of even more unconditional, unifying, harmonious, joyful, really honest relationship. And maybe and I think it is that when there's an older one, there can be that responsibility. And when we do that, that person's always right. We get used to acquiescing, don't we? We get used to saying, okay. And that person maybe gets used to that.
yeah.
And then it's that, I know we're being let go of any control here. And there wasn't control, but um, and I think when you're very empathic as well, disharmony with someone, we sort of, empaths are sort of made to feel a bit crap, and oh, you're so codependent. And actually, as empaths, I think we get a bad rap, because as empaths, we are so loving, and we don't want to do anything that we think is going to make that person feel unloved or abandoned or rejected or uncared for. And I think that's why we sort of sometimes persevere in relationships and situations that if we really listen to the higher truth, we wouldn't. But we get a little bit lost in this. But love saves everything, and love does save everything. But love from a place of wisdom and from our soul. And and it's that thing of when we then reconnect with that person's soul and goodness, we realize we're always connected. That love never goes. We never abandon or reject anybody. It's a crazy idea we've created in our heads. We never abandon or reject, and that love never goes. Even when someone passes and dies, that love never goes. And sometimes when we're not physically with somebody, we think our ego will say in the physical world, will go, but I'm not physically with them, I'm not holding them. And that's when our heart and soul comes in and takes over and says to that ego, it's all right, little one. You don't have to be physically with that person or seemingly in a outer relationship for that love, that care, that forgiveness, that honoring who they are. And for your sister, it was powerful because you said, I've got such trust and faith in you, big sis. I know we'll come back on the outer surface, but we've got some healing to do and some being let go of in our own hearts for us to do that. And that's love, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's interesting because like sometimes we've been taught that this love is actually being together, but it's, you know what I mean, it's not separating, it's not splitting, it's not, you know, spending time away. When it's love is understanding, it's unconditional. It's no, there's no condition of like we have to live in this house in the same roof. Do you see what I mean? And I always say it is like one of the biggest, the most painful like times in my life was when my parents, you know, divorced and everything, but it was one of the biggest, you know, I would say gifts as well to us, because now both of my parents are happy where they are, and they couldn't be, you know, I mean, I can't see that such an extreme, you know, different places now. I couldn't see like forcing them to be together because of this, what we label sometimes unconditional love. It's like, are we going to go through all the feelings and everything, you know what I mean, to be together because we got married and so on. And now, like, I can see my mom, it's like in New York in a busy, you know, place. My dad's in the middle of nowhere, you know, in the middle of the country where he's happy in a different way. And like forcing them to be even in the middle ground, it wouldn't be fair on neither of them. Do you see?
Yeah.
So being in a mediocre, you know, I mean, type of like situation, something is going to be, it wouldn't help neither of them in that sense. So it's, yeah.
It wouldn't have helped you, would it? Can you imagine
Yeah.
if they stayed together and you having to be in the unhappiness,
Yeah.
but obligation of that? I mean, that would have been horrific as a child, I think, to be in that obligation and yeah, and it's, so I think that's what we always try and share, don't we? Try and be as honest as we can without naming and shaming anybody, and but emotions are there to be felt, and if you're feeling something, don't think I'm doing something wrong. If something's coming up, it's ready to be healed and cleared, and you are being let go of that for the deeper truth to come in. So whatever egoic belief something's taken on, and for you, you know, as a child, it's like, but my safety is my parents together, and that's a very human conditioning, isn't it? Because my safety is in my parents. If they're not together, I'm not safe. So that is huge. And we're not going to say, cut straight to junior now. There was a process to that journey for you, wasn't there? So I think we're saying is, well, honor the process. Don't do the spiritual bypass of, I forgive that person. They've just done this horrific thing, but it's okay because I'm very spiritual and it's fine. No, it's a
And then
process.
just let, you know, people know it took years, you know, it's not something like, it was just one, you know, conversation or one therapy or anything else. It's just an understanding that is bigger than, you know, the ego can see on that moment. I'm aware of your time as well, Amanda. You get to go in a second. So I want to just wrap it up as well. Is there anything that you want to say just before we kind of wrap the
Yeah,
idea?
no, I just think it's beautiful sharing this because I know how much you and I have got from it as individuals as well. And I just, if anyone's listening to this, if you can recognize what we're saying, and please get in touch with us. If there's something you need to ask us or talk about, you're not on your own with this. Even if you might feel on your own with this, you're really not. So please just get in touch, pop us a message. We're here.
Awesome, awesome, guys. So as I said earlier at the beginning as well, we probably going to wind down a little bit the amount of episodes we do with the Alchemy chat. So if this is something that you enjoy this journey, you know what I mean, we've done it quite intensively. I feel it's going to be almost like seasons. You know, when you have that series of TV that you watch, season one, we're coming up at the end of season one, for example, for the Alchemy chat.
Yeah.
Season two is coming up at some
Yeah, I
point.
like that. That's really nice. That's really lovely.
Yeah, I think we can we can kind of close it with the number 50 because we're on 47. So we can do, 48, 49, and 50
I
for
like that. Yeah, that's
um
because I'm 50 in actually a month today. I'm 50 a month today. So
wow.
isn't that, yeah, there's always synchronicities on some level, isn't there? So
So we are on episode 47. So let's commit, to do at least another, 3 episodes to finish that, number 50 for this season one.
season
Then
one.
we're gonna see how, season two is gonna come out from this as well, guys. So I really want to express my appreciation for everyone that watched us up until here, or if you came across just this video for the first time, then there are like 50 more to watch if you want to, if you came to
Yeah.
episode 47. And then yes, of course, as Amanda was saying, if you are feeling, to me that you need some help, and I understand that you can reach out, to me, to myself or to Amanda. I just want to express my gratitude to Amanda because she helped me so much in through, especially like in relationships and anything that goes through it, and have that kind of safe space where I can be myself in there as well. So if you feel like connected to Amanda, reach out to Amanda as well. But also in the same way that we said all like over and over again on the Alchemy chat, you can ask for guidance. I mean, it can be from the spiritual way, it can be for source, God, universe, divinity, however it is, the words that you can sit down on your own and ask for that help. I mean, it could be even the God of Beyonce, for example, that we played a while back. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Whatever it is that your mind, is allowing you to ask for that help, and know that, that help is usually around us as well. We know that there are people that we can trust, that we can, connect. There are therapists, there are counselors, there are, psychotherapists, whatever it is, the groups that can support us as well. It's just for us to stay open, and it's like, oh, I need some assistance here. I've been in an abusive relationship, or I've been abusing someone, or something in there. So, and I'm starting to become conscious of that. There is a way that you can ask for that help. It can be, to a higher self, to someone next to you, to a professional, to someone that is around us as well. So I really encourage you to do that because it transformed my life when I needed it in all the painful situations, and I know it can transform yours as well. So
And thank you, Julie, for saying all that. And I think it's been beautiful, isn't it? Because we start to trust, don't we, when actually I think I need some external help with this. But the more we do that, then I know for both you and I, we are able to go within and listen to our higher selves and get that guidance, aren't we? So sometimes you do need somebody, and sometimes you're able to say, no, actually, I'm on quite a flow with this, and I know I can go within and I think we laughed before about, I think I got an inspiration from a toilet roll advert once. Like, I just needed to hear that today. And but I want to thank you, Junior, because you've been so pivotal for me in my life as well. And you were my business coach initially. And you never forced me to do anything I didn't want to do. You were so beautiful and trusting, but always guided me so well. And setting up the Alchemy chat, because we have these beautiful chats and so we need to share this. And I know you've all the help that you're going to give and support in. I know you're going on to do your purpose as well, which is so important, about helping people to live their heartfelt purpose through their work. And you're helping me to do that. And my next journey is continuing to do the video YouTubing, but under a slightly different title. So thank you as well, and also just being such an amazing friend. You really are an amazing friend, and I really value that.
thank you, Amanda. So guys, we're going to explain more a little bit with the next 3 episodes as well of what we're going to go off and how you can follow Amanda and everything. So there will be some, explanations as well. So you stay with us for the next 3 episodes. and more to come, maybe, you know what I mean, with season 2 or one in the next few episodes. And then, yes, as always, if there is any, you know, questions, anything that came up to your mind, you can, you know, always drop it in the comments. If you want to, you know, be notified when the next episode is coming up, or even the season 2 or something, remember to subscribe. And then if you like this one, just remember to press that like as well. And I'll see you guys on the next one.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Me.